I was halfway through reheating leftover lasagna when my wife walked in, practically glowing. Guess what? Jess held up her hands like they were priceless artifacts. New nail salon opened a block from work. The woman who did them, Monica, is a freaking magician. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. Monica? My brain short-circuited for a second, and I forced a neutral smile, but my stomach was already tying itself into sailor knots. Oh yeah? I said, trying to sound casual while stirring sauce that no longer needed stirring. Cool. They look nice. They're more than nice, Jess said, taking a seat at the kitchen island, admiring her fingers like she just discovered she had hands for the first time. This woman is a vibe. Classy, funny. Said she's just recently come back to town. Of course she had. I didn't even need to ask. The Monica she was talking about. There was no way it was a coincidence. Monica Hart, the Monica. The woman I used to date before I met Jess. The woman I should have stayed far, far away from. And didn't. A weird hum filled my ears, like static buzzing behind my eyes. I laughed, way too loudly. Jess looked up. What? Nothing, I said quickly, swallowing. Just glad you found a salon you like. She went on talking, but I barely heard her. I nodded in all the right places while my brain screamed in the background. I hadn't thought about Monica in months, not really. Sure, she popped up sometimes, like a bad dream you don't want to admit still rattles you. But now, she was back in my orbit. No, worse. She was doing my wife's nails. I gripped the countertop, trying to remember how to breathe. Please don't let her recognize Jess. Please, for the love of all things holy, don't let her know. But even as I thought it, I knew. Monica always knew how to find the weakest spots and dig her nails in deep. And now, my past had just walked straight through our front door. Perfectly manicured. That night, I couldn't sleep. Jess was lying beside me, completely at peace, one arm tossed over the blanket like she didn't have a single care in the world. Her fingers, those newly polished, flawless nails, rested inches from my face like silent proof of my unraveling. I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. There had to be 100 Monicas in this city, thousands. But something in Jess's voice, how impressed she was, how quickly she'd clicked with her, told me this wasn't just some random nail tech. And that name, Monica. I slipped out of bed like a thief, careful not to wake her. Downstairs, I grabbed my phone and typed in the salon's name Jess had mentioned. Nail Haven by Monica. The Instagram page loaded instantly. The first post was a short video of hands getting sculpted under a soft pink lamp. A gold bracelet slid down a wrist I recognized. No. I clicked on the profile photo. There she was, Monica Hart, same icy stare, same perfect red lips, same impossibly smooth skin. She hadn't changed, just upgraded. She looked even more expensive than I remembered. Her page was full of close-up shots, nails, products, a few selfies that somehow managed to look casual and calculated at the same time. But the real dagger? A group story highlight labeled New Clients. I tapped through it, and there she was, Jess, laughing, holding up her fresh manicure, smiling like she'd just made a new best friend. The caption read, "This lovely lady lit up my whole day. I had to sit. My legs wouldn't hold me. I stumbled into my home office and shut the door, burying my head in my hands." It was her, Monica freaking Hart. And she knew. Of course she knew. Jess must have said my name, or showed her a picture. Or hell, maybe Monica figured it out just by looking at her wedding ring and doing a little math. She was always the calculating type. My mind flashed back to that night, a year ago, when I made the worst mistake of my life. I had gotten a message out of nowhere. Monica had found my work email. Said she needed closure my ass. We met for coffee, one drink, one innocent conversation. That turned into dinner, which turned into her apartment. It wasn't planned. I swear it wasn't. I told myself I just wanted to be civil, to be kind, to finally bury whatever twisted history we'd had. Instead, I buried my ring in my pocket and ended up in her bed. When it was over, I told her it was a mistake, that it couldn't happen again. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just smiled that cold, unreadable smile. And I thought that was the end of it. Now, I felt like a rabbit in a trap. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling like it had answers. Do I tell Jess? Do I confess that her new nail tech, her new friend, wasn't just some stranger from Yelp, but my ex? Do I tell her we slept together? That it was after we were married? That there might be a video? God help me. Monica always plays the long game. And I just wandered right back into it. The next morning, Jess was radiant again. She danced around the kitchen in one of my oversized sweatshirts, sipping her almond milk latte and humming some indie pop tune like she had zero idea the earth was crumbling under my feet. I told Monica about how we met, she said casually, grabbing a banana from the fruit bowl. She thought it was so sweet. You know that I fell for the IT guy who fixed the office Wi-Fi. I nearly choked on my coffee. She asked a lot of questions, Jess went on, like if you were romantic, if we wanted kids, girl talk, girl talk, with the woman I cheated on you with. I nodded slowly, my hand gripping the mug too tightly. Sounds fun. Honestly, I could see her becoming a friend, Jess said with a grin. She's smart, sharp, but sweet. A little intense, though. Yeah, that's one word for it. Anyway, she added, leaning in to kiss my cheek, I booked another appointment for next week. Told her I might bring you next time. She wants to meet you. My blood turned to ice. I watched Jess leave for work, and the second the door shut behind her, my phone buzzed on the counter. Unknown number. I already knew. You forgot something. Meet me. No name, no location, just that. But I knew where she meant. The parking lot outside her salon was nearly empty when I pulled in. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the pavement, like the universe itself wanted this to feel like a noir film. I spotted her before she saw me, or maybe she saw me first. With Monica, you never really knew. She always made it feel like you were the one watching, but somehow you were already caught. She stepped outside like she'd been expecting me for hours. Black heels, tight black dress, hair twisted up in a clean, almost clinical knot, her arms folded, expression cool and perfectly amused, like a cat watching a bird that had finally realized the cage door was never locked. David, she purred, voice soft but sharp. So good to see you again. I didn't answer right away. I just stood there, pulse pounding, like I was back in high school and the principal had called me in. Only the principal was the woman I'd slept with while wearing a wedding ring. She smirked. I took a breath. Monica, don't do this. She tilted her head. Don't do what? I haven't done anything. Yet, there it was, that slow, deliberate threat disguised as charm. I told you it was a mistake, I said, lowering my voice. Mm-hmm? She nodded. And I told you I was over it. But funny thing, when your wife sat in my chair and started describing her perfect husband, something didn't sit right. She took a step closer. I wanted to see how perfect he really was. I swallowed hard. What do you want? Her smile was all teeth now. Oh, sweetheart, she said. We're just getting started. The interior of Monica's private studio was nothing like I expected. It was pristine. White walls, soft gold accents, a glass table with neatly arranged tools and tiny bottles of polish like little soldiers. Everything smelled like eucalyptus and thread. She waved me inside like I was a client. Relax, she said, gesturing to a sleek white chair across from her desk. You look tense. I'm not here for a mani, I muttered, refusing to sit. She didn't flinch, just reached for her phone. Then let's skip the small talk. She tapped the screen a few times and turned it toward me. My heart stopped. The video started with soft light and blurred movement. Then it sharpened, and there I was, sitting on the edge of her bed, shirtless, eyes tired and guilty. She walked into frame, climbed onto the bed behind me, wrapped her arms around me. And then, it got worse. You could see everything. My wedding ring on the nightstand. Her smirk into the camera, like she knew exactly what she was doing. The date and time were right there in the corner. 8 months ago. 3 months after Jess and I got married, I couldn't breathe. I didn't know you filmed this, I rasped. Of course you didn't, she said calmly. If you had, you wouldn't have been so natural. She paused the video and looked up, her expression suddenly colder. You were married, David. Her voice was still soft, but now it had an edge sharp enough to cut glass. In your wife's eyes. This isn't just a one-night mistake. It's betrayal. It's calculated. And if she sees this, she let the sentence dangle, like a noose. I backed away a step. You can't send her that. Monica, please. She raised an eyebrow. Can't or won't. What do you want? She smiled. 50,000? I stared at her. Are you insane? Do I look insane? She asked coolly, tapping her polished nail against the phone. Because to me, I look pretty focused, organized, motivated. You're blackmailing me, she shrugged. I'm reminding you of consequences. My chest felt tight. I don't have that kind of money. You'll find it, she said simply. Sell something, borrow, take out a loan. You've got, what, a week? I swallowed hard. She leaned forward, voice lowering. I already have her number, David. I saved it when she texted me her next appointment. One tap and this, she held up the phone, ends your cute little marriage. I felt my knees go weak. Please, I whispered, don't do this. I'll do anything. She tilted her head. I know you will. Then she stood, walked to the door, and opened it like a queen dismissing a servant. You know what I'm capable of, she said, smiling just enough to terrify me. Don't make me prove it again. I stumbled out of her studio, half blind with panic. The sun hit my face like a slap, and for the first time in my life, I had no idea what to do next. The bank was quiet, clinical, just the soft hum of printers and the tick of an old clock mounted above the service counter. I sat in a stiff gray chair, trying to look like a man applying for a renovation loan, not one being extorted by a manicured sociopath. The loan officer smiled politely as she processed the paperwork. Any particular reason for the personal loan, Mr. Callahan? Just life, I said, forcing a chuckle. Unexpected expenses. My signature trembled slightly as I scrawled it across the bottom of the form. $50,000. That was someone's college tuition, a down payment, a year of rent in a nicer zip code. And for me, it was silence. Insurance against ruin. But the bank wasn't enough. I spent the next 2 days offloading whatever I could without Jess noticing. My vintage watch collection, my gaming setup, even the golf clubs I never used but liked having as a man thing. I came home late, slept even later, slipped through our apartment like a shadow avoiding the light. Jess noticed. She always noticed. I was brushing my teeth one night, thinking about the pathetic sum I still had left to raise, when she leaned in the doorway of the bathroom and watched me in the mirror. You okay? She asked softly. I spat. Yeah, just tired. She stepped closer. You've been off lately. I froze. Is it work or? She hesitated, her voice dipping. Is it something else? Are you depressed? Her eyes searched mine, wide with worry, not suspicion. That somehow made it worse. That broke me a little. I turned around and kissed her forehead. I miss you too. It was true, but it wasn't the whole truth. Later that week, Jess sat across from me on the couch, grinning like she just had the world's most brilliant idea. You know what I was thinking? She said. We should have Monica over. My stomach dropped. What? I mean, you've never met her properly. I talk about her all the time. You always say we should do more couple stuff. Why not a little dinner? You, me, Monica? She beamed. Dinner with my wife and the woman blackmailing me over sex tape evidence, I thought. Sounds fun, I managed to say. She tilted her head. You okay? Yeah, I lied. Great idea. She clapped her hands and pulled out her phone. I'll text her. What night works for you? I didn't answer. Because there was no night that worked for me. No night in the world where that dinner wouldn't be a minefield. The restaurant Jess picked was small and stylish. One of those trendy places where the wine list is longer than the menu and the candles flicker like they're hiding secrets. Intimate. Too intimate. I sat wedged between Jess and the wall, my knee accidentally brushing Monica's once, twice, and each time she didn't flinch. She smiled. Monica, this duck is incredible, right? Jess said, beaming like a proud hostess. You always recommend the best places. Monica dabbed her napkin at her lips and tilted her head. Well, I have good taste. I like things that are rich, complex, a little risky. She looked at me when she said it. Jess didn't notice. She was sipping her wine, glowing with the satisfaction of a perfectly curated evening. David, Monica said suddenly, I can see why Jess married you. You must be passionate. I nearly choked on my drink. The wine burned going down. Jess laughed, oblivious. He is, when he's not glued to his laptop. You should see him when he's deep into a project. He's like a different person. Focused. Intense. Monica raised her glass. To intensity, then. I clinked reluctantly, my hand damp with sweat. The rest of the dinner was a blur of small talk and silent panic. Monica played the part of the charming new friend flawlessly. She even complimented Jess's earrings. Earrings I'd bought for our anniversary. Earrings Jess was wearing because she said they reminded her of our honeymoon. Everything about the night was wrong. After dessert, Jess excused herself to take a call. Monica stood too, brushing invisible lint from her tight black dress. "I need the ladies' room too," she said lightly. "David, walk me?" No, I should have said. But Jess smiled and waved us off. I followed Monica through the narrow hallway past the kitchen, the scent of truffle oil and garlic thick in the air. She didn't stop at the bathroom door. She pulled me into the dark corner near the service exit, just out of view. $75,000, she whispered, her breath warm and venomous. I blinked. "What?" Her lipstick curled into a grin. "I liked tonight. It was fun. I think I want more. You said 50. She leaned closer, lips nearly brushing my ear. "I changed my mind. Monica, She stepped back. "I always win, David. You forgot that." Then she turned, walked away with the click of her heels echoing down the hallway. When I returned to the table, Jess was waiting with a fresh glass of wine and that same soft smile. "How was the bathroom line?" she asked. I sat down slowly, stomach churning. Short, but the evening? The evening was long, and it had only just begun. Sleep became a stranger. When I did manage to drift off, it was never for long. Nightmares clawed at me, vivid, relentless. Jess holding my phone, her expression crumbling as the video played, her voice breaking as she asked, "How could you?" I'd wake up soaked in sweat, chest heaving, the room spinning. By day, I was a wreck. Emails went unanswered, meetings blurred. My assistant asked if I was sick. I told her I was just tired. But even I didn't believe it. In the office bathroom, I stared at my reflection. My eyes looked hollow, skin pale and sallow. I looked like a man already caught, not one trying to stay ahead of the trap. I snapped during a budget review. Someone questioned a number and I slammed the table so hard the intern flinched. "Do your damn job or get out," I barked. Silence, awkward stares. No one said anything, but they all knew something was off. At home, Jess tried to help. "You're not yourself lately," she said one evening, touching my arm gently. "Are you depressed?" "I'm fine," I muttered. "You barely sleep. You've lost weight." "David, talk to me. Just drop it, Jess." She stared at me, stunned. "I'm your wife," she said quietly. "Don't yell at me like I'm some stranger." I looked at her, tears pooling in her eyes, and hated myself in that moment more than I thought possible. I left, got in my car, drove with no destination at first, just away. But there was only one place I could go. Monica opened the door like she'd been expecting me. Her private salon was closed, lights dimmed, scented candles burning. She stood in leggings and an oversized sweater, but even dressed down, she radiated danger. "I figured you'd come," she said, stepping aside. I didn't sit. "Delete the video." She raised an eyebrow. "You're not in a position to demand anything, sweetheart." I moved closer. "I'll do whatever you want. Just delete it, please." She chuckled and walked to her desk, tapped her tablet a few times. Then she turned the screen toward me. "A countdown. Scheduled delivery," she said, "to a secure list. Your little Jess is on there." I stared, heart pounding. "Why are you doing this?" Her smile faded. "Because you thought you could just use me, walk away, pretend it meant nothing. But now your perfect little life dangles from my fingers, and I like the feeling." I felt dizzy. My hands were shaking. She leaned in. "Tick-tock, David. Every second you waste." Closer to impact, I staggered out the door into the night. The only way out now was through. I had to tell Jess, before Monica did. The kitchen was still. The soft hum of the fridge was the only sound, the only thing that filled the oppressive silence between us. I sat at the table, hands trembling. My mouth was dry. I had rehearsed this 1,000 times in my head, but now that the moment had arrived, the words felt like they would choke me. Jess stood by the counter, her back to me, silently preparing a cup of tea. The act was a facade. She knew something was wrong, knew I was on the edge. I couldn't keep lying. Not anymore. The truth would come out, and if I didn't tell her, someone else would. "Jess." I said, my voice barely a whisper. She didn't turn around. Jess, I need to tell you something. She set the teacup down, still not facing me. I've done something terrible. Something I can't undo. Her shoulders stiffened, but she didn't speak. I leaned forward, my hands gripping the edge of the table, my knuckles turning white. I cheated on you. With Monica. It happened a year ago before we were even married, but I kept it a secret. I was weak, and she's been blackmailing me. She has a video, Jess. A video of us, and she's threatening to send it to you. I waited for the explosion, the anger, the hurt, but there was nothing, just silence. Finally, she turned to face me. Her eyes were wide but empty. She didn't say a word. I tried again, my voice breaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. But she has me cornered, Jess. She wants money, and I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to make it right. Still, she didn't speak. She just looked at me, her expression unreadable. And then, slowly, her hand reached for her left hand. She slipped off the wedding ring I had put on her finger with such love and care 2 years ago. She placed it on the table, gently, like it was the most natural thing in the world. You're a traitor, she said softly. Her voice was calm, but there was a sharp edge to it. I froze. Her words cut deeper than anything Monica had threatened. Jess turned away from me, her back now fully to me as she grabbed her coat from the hook by the door. Jess, please, I said, my voice desperate. But she didn't look back. She walked out, leaving me sitting there, staring at the empty space where the ring had been. The door clicked shut behind her, and I was alone. A week had passed, but everything still felt like a blur, a cruel, sickening blur. I sat in the lawyer's office, his sharp gaze cutting through me. His name was Mr. Williams, a no-nonsense kind of guy who'd dealt with cases like mine before. He flipped through the paperwork in front of him, and when he looked up, there was a strange glint of satisfaction in his eyes. You're in luck, Mr. Bennett, he said, his voice calm. It appears the police have opened an investigation into Ms. Monica Lane. My heart skipped a beat. Monica? What the hell? The investigation is on charges of blackmail and the illegal recording of intimate material, he continued. It seems Ms. Lane used a hidden camera while you were involved with her. She filmed everything without your consent. I sat there, stunned. The weight of the words hit me like a ton of bricks. Monica had done this on purpose. She had planned this from the start, to use me, to ruin me. Your wife has already filed charges, Mr. Williams added. This is serious. We're looking at felony charges. I didn't know how to feel. Relief? Guilt? Shame? I didn't have time to dwell on it. I had to see Jess. I rushed to her apartment. When I rang the doorbell, she answered almost immediately. Her face was impassive, her eyes tired. I know what you did, I said, my voice thick with emotion. I don't know how to thank you. You saved me. She stepped back, letting me in, but she didn't smile. You're not thanking me, she said, her voice steady but cold. This isn't for you. I blinked, confused. This is for me, she said, looking me square in the eyes. You didn't deserve to be saved. You're a liar and a cheater. This is for me to take back control, to take back what you took from me. I felt my chest tighten. Jess wasn't doing this for me. She was doing it for herself, and in some way, that made everything hurt even more. I don't deserve your forgiveness, I muttered. Jess didn't answer. She turned her back to me, walking toward the window. She looked out at the city, her posture straight, but there was a sadness in her eyes I couldn't quite understand. Thank you, I said again, this time more quietly. But it felt hollow, empty. She didn't respond. I left, my mind swirling. Monica's game had backfired, but at what cost? I had moved out of the apartment and into a small rental house on the outskirts of the city. It was nothing special, just a place to crash, to be alone. The walls were bare, the rooms empty except for the basic furniture I had purchased in a daze. The only thing that kept me company was the relentless ticking of the clock, reminding me of the time that had passed and the time that had been lost. I started seeing a therapist. At first, I didn't want to go, but I knew I had to. Talking to someone, even if it didn't make me feel better, was the only way to keep the weight of everything from crushing me. The sessions were long, uncomfortable. I didn't like opening up, didn't want to admit to myself how broken I was. But every time I left that office, I felt a little lighter, like maybe, just maybe, there was a way to piece myself back together. Jess didn't come back. I never expected her to, not after everything. She sent a few texts here and there, but they were short, cold. There was no warmth left in her words. I never replied. I didn't deserve to. Monica had disappeared. The salon was sold, and I never heard from her again. I was half expecting her to pop back up, to try one last manipulation. But she was gone. No more blackmail, no more threats. It was like they both had vanished, taking everything I had left with them. The house, the life I thought I had built, gone. I stood by the window, looking out at the quiet street. The sky was gray, a soft mist hanging in the air. The world felt distant, like I was watching it from a place that wasn't quite real. I had no idea what the future held, but I knew it would be different. In the silence, my thoughts turned inward. I thought about the choices I had made, the lies I had told. I thought about how I had tried to escape my past, how I thought I could bury it. But I was wrong. I couldn't escape. The past always finds a way to surface, doesn't it? Sometimes it creeps back in through the cracks, like a shadow that never leaves. And sometimes it comes knocking in the most unexpected ways, like through a manicure. I chuckled bitterly to myself. How ridiculous it seemed now. But I knew better. I couldn't outrun the mistakes I'd made. And in the end, maybe that was the price I had to pay. The storm was over, but the damage had already been done. And I would carry it with me in the quiet moments, in the empty rooms, forever.